Feel incredible!
It's not a cartoon, it's anime!
That was a rough one. I need a drink.
Yes. I feel like Rob was like, give me a whiskey on the rocks. Welcome to another episode of Animeshun. Squad is back. You know what it is. Myself, Brennan, Rob, Ice. The gang is back. Gang. We out here in these streets.
I just want to say that this is the greatest fucking anime podcast in the entire world.
Got it out early.
You gotta just try to catch Brennan at random moments. It's so funny.
Why is it about me? Why can't it just be like, hey, Brennan, take off your headphones?
It's about you because you're making a big deal out of it. Whereas everybody else, we just accepted it as like whatever. But you take your headphones off and oh gosh, I can't fathom.
Shout out to Antonio Ward. He called me out, so I had to make sure I come through on time.
So I think.
Oh yeah.
If you didn't give a damn at all, Brennan, it would mean nothing. It probably would take off. It would probably lessen the blow. I don't know, but the fact that you care so much.
And you got a week off last week, right? Ice, you didn't mention it last episode. You got a week off.
I didn't. I meant it because I was trying to catch him slipping, and then I got too involved. Don't worry, I made up for it. It's all good.
You're gonna have to double up this episode or some other.
It
was a good week.
Shout out to Antonio Ward for calling that out. Appreciate everybody that be commenting. There's people that timestamp every time that I say that on the YouTube, and I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, there's one guy.
It's gonna be great to make a compilation.
I don't like any of you. For the record, anybody who does that, I don't like you. Just gonna put it out there. Just in case you want to, I don't need to know you not to like you. I don't like you.
Yeah. So if he didn't put any energy into it, I would still show up for the timestamp people.
There it is.
They can kick rocks, in my opinion.
All right.
Well, you know what it is, man. It's Rob's pick. Yes.
Yeah. Let's double down on that. Rob's pick.
Rob, pick this shit. He was trying to go the classic route and played the fuck out of himself.
What the fuck am I gonna say? Of course, I picked it. Yeah,
I like how he has a character in his backdrop that's not featured in the show.
Not on the show.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah,
I would much rather watch a show just with him. Honestly,
it'd be great. I'd love to have some Nightcrawler on this. It'd be great.
Yeah, Rob, give us your breakdown of how much you enjoyed these last 4 episodes.
Well, let's go through. It's episodes 4 through 8. X-Men, the anime, is on Netflix if you want to keep watching with us. Break it down, Rob. Break it up.
All right.
Freak down.
So breaking it down, we join back up with the X-Men as Hisako is getting her first run in the Danger Room against a projection of a Sentinel, these mutant hunting robots. Because she didn't, and because she knows it isn't real, she lets her guard down and just gets absolutely blasted. Emma says, hey, good job in there. Even if you lost, you went out there, you gave it 110%, you tried your best. But Cyclops is like, Emma, what the hell have you been teaching her? What's all this time been about? And Hisako tries to defend Emma, but Cyclops is just like, you better worry about yourself, before you come at me, and then just pretty much walks away. Meanwhile, Beast and Xavier are kind of discussing what to do about the virus. It seems to be attacking mutants and developing secondary mutations, and then falling ill with the Damon Hall syndrome. They decide to crank out a bunch more of this vaccine that Beast has been working on so they can help get those back to the people in Hisoka's hometown that might still be infected, as well as keep an eye on Emma's condition, which it sounded like they said it was benign, but now it sounds like it's more serious. So I don't know if they're lying to her or if she's lying to Hisoka or whatever, or Hisako or whatever. Later, Xavier announces that that both of them will be joining the X-Men, Hisoka as a junior member, and invites Emma to join as a full-fledged X-Man. And everybody except Cyclops is kind of just into it. Cyclops is like, how about you try reading her mind first to prove that she's innocent and not involved in Jean's death? And she just flat out refuses, says, somebody else could have made an illusion that she was there, maybe Mastermind in his inner circle, which the inner circle, the Hellfire Club, I said last week that was the Mutant Brotherhood, totally different thing. Inner Circle is the Hellfire Club, which is a whole different thing. So anyway, some of them are willing to believe that this could be the case, and Cyclops is just basically outvoted, and she joins the team. Hisako is trying to
being the leader.
I mean, yeah. What's the point of being the leader if everybody can just be like, no? I mean, but Hisako tries to get information out of Beast about him, why he's so mean. Did he used to be, was he always this way? Beast is kind of just like, he's got a deep wound in his heart. It's changed him from how he used to be. He's still struggling with his trauma, just like she is. And right on cue, Cyclops comes to the lab and tells Hisako that she needs to train with him right now. And he takes her to the danger room.
He grabbed her a little aggressively. I was like, God damn.
Coming with me.
She's a kid, sir.
He takes her to the danger room and tells her, you're failing because you know that this isn't real. So to push her, you're going to be fighting me and I'm not going to be holding back. Hisako is on the ropes, and even Wolverine is like, Cyclops, maybe you're going a little too far with this, but Emma sees the good in it, and eventually Hisako is pushed far enough to release her full power. And after pummeling Cyclops a bit, she eventually does get it under control as well. And a huge step for her, and everybody's happy except Hisako, who's like, "Oh, I'm being turned into a big monster." It's like, well, what did you think this was about?
Just real quick, sorry. This shows me that Cyclops, and I feel like maybe a lot of X-Men don't have hands. They rely on their powers. He got smoked by a fucking 15-year-old. Hand to hand. Ain't no 15-year-old unless they bigger than me whipping my ass. I'm not taking that shit.
Well,
because it's like it's right here.
She is physically bigger than
that's his muscle memory.
Yeah.
You make it sound like, but you make it sound like
he's point and click.
You make it sound like in this show, particularly, like his laser's weak or something like that. If he was just like, bloop, turn that up, she would disintegrate.
Oh yeah, she be. He still don't have hands. He still don't have hands.
Would you have hands if you could disintegrate people with your eyes?
Yeah, I think I would work on. I would work on the hand-to-hand combat. I would
definitely.
I think I would.
I would have something.
I would disintegrate everybody.
You would have to.
Well, bro,
that's like being a great wrestler.
I would be sitting next to Professor X in a wheelchair.
Taekwondo.
I can see Brendan doing that. Brendan just being like, "I would fight, box, Taekwondo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for what?" Yeah.
Just laser everything. Go away. Your ass getting whooped.
And it doesn't. Like, so I'm saying I might, like, yeah, okay, well, I'll catch
what
the
if
hands
there's a
when I
mutant
deserve
out
them.
there that can take away your powers?
Leech definitely exists.
Eraserhead. You done, dog? Yeah. Really getting his ass.
That's fine.
You gotta use these.
I just have to learn my lesson.
Another day.
All right, go. My bad, Roger.
So Hisako heads out to go pout. Storm goes to go see her and tells her all about how the Xavier School helped her to control her powers, and that at one point made her feel different and afraid. And, you have to learn to control that fear and help bridge the divide between humans and mutants. And Emma joins in and basically tells her to toughen up before she walks away and tells Xavier, you know what? You can read my mind, but I want you to project everything you see to everybody so everybody knows what's up. So we see her life, how she was cast out because of her powers until Mastermind brought her into the inner circle and used her to forward his vision. After a man died from her using her powers, she left, just like she said, her vision and his vision sort of diverted. And so she decided, I'm out of here. And we see that she wasn't involved in Jean's death. She was helping some other mutant kid on the same day. So totally innocent. And she uses this to teach Hisako that, nobody's perfect, but if she can change after what she's done, so can Hisako. And with that, Cyclops apologizes to her, shakes her hand, welcomes her to the X-Men officially. Then they get their next mission briefing, distribute the vaccine amongst the mutants in Hisako's hometown, investigate the center of the affected area. And before they leave, Emma asks about a name she saw when they were connected, her and Xavier, Sasaki Yui. And he's not quite ready to talk about it, but we'll meet her soon.
She read his mind.
Yeah, she was like, I didn't try to see it, but, our minds were connected. Sometimes you just see things in the periphery. I don't know. Episode 6, the U-Men call it Mastermind.
Right, I'm sorry. I just want to point out that Professor X is the most nerfed character in life on this version of the X-Men.
True.
Definitely, yeah.
Him not being able to see the stuff with Cerebral, that already, come on.
That's a big takeaway.
Yeah, like he out the game almost.
No, everybody's not nerfed. Cyclops is doing
Everybody
his thing.
except Cyclops
Yeah,
and
everybody
maybe
except
Wolverine.
Cyclops is
The
nerfed.
creator of this show
Even
was
Wolverine.
the creator of this particular one was like, "Yo, fam, Cyclops is my favorite character." Everybody else get turned down, but Cyclops, I'm turning this motherfucker up.
So the U-Men call up the Mastermind to let him know, like, hey, we detected the X-Men returning. We'll handle it, but Mastermind is like, I've got a couple of my other guys I'm going to send in just in case. Meanwhile, the X-Men land at Hisako's house, meet back up with her family, who talk about all the strange things that have been happening in the area. Fish are dying in the nearby river, as have some trees, and this bridge not far from that is also like all destroyed and twisted up. So Cyclops, Emma, and Hisako go to check out the bridge, while Storm and Wolverine go to check out the fish. Beast stays behind and starts giving out vaccines to just the sick mutants in the area who are developing all these secondary mutations. Storm and Wolverine do find a pile of dead fish eventually, but the origin is actually coming from this toxic gas. It's like kind of spewing out of this nearby rock pile. And Cyclops and the others, they find a bridge and they're just kind of like, it does look like a mutant's done this, but like this seems like a Magneto thing and he's in prison. So I don't really know what the hell is going on. Yeah, he's locked up.
Wasn't it like sulfur in the water or something?
Yeah.
I think they may have said it was sulfur. I don't remember if they said it was some sort of gas. Did you guys watch the sub or the dub?
The dub, they say sulfur for sure.
They say
okay,
sulfur.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know if they mentioned it in the
I'm not
sub.
about to put myself through this.
On the way back, Hisako asks him, basically, hey, what's this pain in your heart Beast mentioned? And Emma's like, hey, it's kind of rude to just like ask somebody about their trauma, just like out of the blue, like
in front of people too area. At that. Yeah. Like you didn't even pull them to the side.
Who broke your heart, bitch?
Yeah. Cyclops just doesn't even answer. Now thinking about Jean, his day ruined. Back at the
Day ruined.
just fuck, man, I forgot about that.
It's only 7 a.m.
Back together, the X-Men decide they don't really have enough info to figure out what the hell is going on and decide to head right to the center of the area of where this is all going down to see what they can find. On the way, in the Blackbird, some real fucky shit starts going down. Emma recoils from a noise nobody can hear. Cyclops just completely loses control over the jet, and they get shot down with a surface air missile and just crash land. They get out of the ship, but when they do, Xavier completely loses contact with them, and the snow behaves in this really weird way, engulfing the Blackbird and hardening. Like Storm can't even manipulate this. She's like, this isn't the weather. Something else is happening. Suddenly, Sublime, who we saw.
I love how Wolverine was like, Storm, fix it.
Do something. But Sublime careens down the mountainside, blasting him with a bunch of lasers. Cyclops tries to shoot him with lasers of his own, but Sublime reflects him, and everybody manages to dodge them except Cyclops. I'm like, come on, man. He uses some magnetic missiles that stick to Wolverine too, and just start to basically melt him. And he shoots. He's got tricks for everybody. Sends a little thing for Storm that'll absorb her lightning. Even Emma and Hisako are fucking useless in this, but it's actually Beast. He kind of comes through this time using his special little glasses. He finds a weak spot, puts a bomb on the back of the armor, and leaves the weak spot, and everybody just runs in on this guy at this point. Emma uses her diamond skin to rip open the thing. Hisako's using wrestling moves on this dude, and Cyclops is like, oh, I'm back, and blasts him, and eventually Storm and Wolverine just finish him off, slicing off the robotic limbs, and he gives his classic villain taunt, the real villain is amongst you, and triggers his Predator arm nuke that he's got, and they just basically barely manage to escape before it goes off, and he's done. Still with no answers, and now with no ride, the X-Men head out on foot to find out who is behind all this. They march through the snowstorm until they find a cabin near the coordinates they were searching for, and a red-haired woman welcomes them in from the cold and offers them some drinks. And it's over these drinks that Hisako realizes, hey, I know this woman. This is Sasaki Yui, the woman we've heard so much about, former leader of the Sasaki Academy, where she just remembered, oh yeah, I used to go to your school to learn to control my powers, though, like a little after school program. But she has trouble remembering things about it. And the woman is like, yes, I am Dr. Sasaki, the woman you've heard so much about. From here, we get some real sketchy info from her that just kind of reeks of bullshit that she just, oh, yeah, I met Xavier like 15 years ago, but I don't really know him that well. You know, Charles, and she ran down her own like smaller academy, but she shut it down 10 years ago and uses it for medical and mutant research. And Hisako asked her about one of the other students she used to be friends with, but has a hard time remembering him as well. And Sasaki's just like, oh, yeah, I had a ton of students back in the day. I can't remember them all. Fucking, yeah, right. She then introduces her research team of 3, Koichi, this guy Koichi, another guy, Jun, and this woman, Riko, who come in and are just like, hey, you got a meeting. You got to come with us. So they all take off. Beast, Storm, and Wolverine decide to go take a look at the Blackbird now that the snow has stopped, leaving Emma, Cyclops, and Hisako behind to keep an eye on Sasaki and her people. As soon as Sasaki is out of the room, Emma's like, she's full of shit. And I didn't even have to fucking use my powers to know that. Like, you don't like, she's referring to Xavier on a first name basis. Like, she calls it women's intuition. It's a little too familiar. And Hisako says that, like, she seems different now, too. Like, colder for sure. The other team gets back to the Blackbird and discovers that the research or that the reason Storm can't control the snow is because it's not made of frozen water. It's some kind of like rock or mineral or something. And they ask Professor X to send a spare Blackbird to get them out and give him the update.
How much money does he have?
Oh, he's loaded, man.
Send a spare Blackbird? You know how much those things cost? I'm sorry, please.
Give us the factual actuals on the Blackbird cost, sir.
I was like, they got 2 of those? I thought it was just like the one, but yeah, no, they got them. They got a reserve apparently.
Everything too. It's not like a mini version or anything. It's like,
and it has autopilot technology. And has autopilot technology. Blackbirds did not have that. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop.
Yep.
As soon as they hang up, Sasaki gives Xavier a call, and clearly they do know each other well, but she's pretty annoyed and is like, hey, your X-Men are getting in the way of my research, and they got to skedaddle out of here as soon as they can. Xavier tries to ask her more about what's going on and is she involved in what's happening? She says no. He asks her then, why do I keep seeing a vision of your face and this little boy whenever I concentrate on the area? And she drops a huge bomb. Oh, that's probably our son that you're Takeo that you're seeing that I never told you about. And oh yeah, also he's dead. I'll tell you more about it another time. Goodbye. Click.
What?
And Xavier's just shit. Like, it's crazy.
She trying to give Dead Man's Wonderland some competition to being the worst mom because. Yeah, she's definitely the worst baby mama.
You know what's funny? Professor X can't even get his hands on her. He's like, hold on. He keeps just running into shit.
Yeah, he's just left us doing that and needing some more answers. He's about to send out the Blackbird on autopilot, and he's just like, no, I'm going myself. So he decides he needs to go to Japan, get some fucking answers. At the other downed Blackbird, Wolverine, Beast, and Storm are attacked by 2 of Mastermind's inner circle, Rat and Marsh. Wolverine faces off with Rat, who can produce spikes out of his body, and they trade some blows back and forth, while Storm and Beast contend with Marsh, who's able to liquefy his body and dodge their attacks. But their ultimate goal seems to not be to beat them in a fight, but to get them to trigger an avalanche, which they do. But the X-Men are able to survive just by getting on top of the Blackbird, and the other 2 just take off. They escape for now. And as they walk back, they discuss like, hey, Sasaki is like super suspicious. And Wolverine's like, yeah, I even smell somebody else at the facility that they're definitely hiding. They said there was only like the 4 of them there, but there's somebody else.
I don't know about if they did this in the sub, but in the dub, they spammed that word, I smell something wrong. Like for Wolverine, he said that like every other line he was saying. Like it was like, I smell something. I smell something. I smell something bad. Like we get it, bro. Like you can smell shit.
But the first
definitely with
he mentioned it all, which is funny to me.
Yeah, because he smelled the dead fish in the last one, and this time he's like smelling more people at the lab. It's definitely got a bit of an uptick.
Sorry, 1 second. I'd like to just go back a little bit about this Blackbird. It cost $34 million. It cost $34 million. It originally was launched in 1966. They retired them in 1999, actually. So this show was made in 2011, but they still, I guess, they're keeping track with what the X-Men normally would do. But yeah, $34 million per. So Professor X got the deep pockets. Please continue.
With inflation, that's like $40 million now. So 80
Probably
mil
more
easy.
than that, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably more than that actually, but yeah, whatever.
Or if they're retired, he's just got like,
Just a little, just 100
bunch of
mil.
backstock.
Just 100 mil.
Cool 100,
no
Tax
problem.
write-off.
Got a spare one.
He got a school.
No
That's a
problem.
tax write-off.
I mean, can you imagine what he's charging for tuition for those kids? he's got it. Anyway,
Danger room alone. Yeah.
right?
Facts.
Sasaki has her team inject some stuff and tells them like, "Hey, don't let the X-Men see this." While upstairs, Hisako rubs a birthmark on her hand that I guess is starting to hurt for the first time ever, like Harry Potter style. Something like she's back in this area, so her scar is hurting. It's weird. She decides to go ask the doctor about some ointment, so she takes off. Alone, Emma asks Cyclops, "Hey, let me read your mind. Let me help ease your pain." The professor asked me to do this.
Sounds
and
like a Vaughn.
Surprisingly, yeah.
The singer of Vaughn. Let me read your mind, babe.
Surprisingly, he agrees, actually. And we see visions of his past with Jean, some stuff we've seen before, and eventually he faces off with himself. And as he comes out of the trance, he realizes that the one person he hasn't forgiven for saving Jean is himself. Emma tells him, the best way for him to honor her memory is to continue her vision of being a light for mutant kind and basically toughen up, be the leader that he needs to be. And, he agrees and they start to grow closer. So
Cyclops getting the draws. Cyclops is getting the draws. I mean, we've already talked about that because he does so in comics. But
Yeah.
he might get him in this show.
He's got the moody boy thing that they all want to fix. You know what I mean?
Sad kid.
Perfect.
He's
Perfect, Rob.
He's a little puppy dog.
Boy. The brooding.
Downstairs, Hisako is looking for the doctor, but in upside down blurred POV shot, we see that something else finds her first and attacks. Episode 8, Cyclops and Emma hear it and head downstairs, but Hisako gets there first, and she and Sasaki are attacked by this like monstrous scorpion looking thing that spits acid out of its like tail/face. I'm not really sure. The rest is
so many fucking powers.
and a lot going on. It was just like whatever a bug can do, any bug, this one does it. The rest of the X-Men, even those, the ones from the Blackbird soon find them and join the fight. And Beast identifies it as another mutant that's transformed again. It's a pretty tough fight. Yeah, this guy's got a lot of different powers and the monster is able to dodge a lot of their attacks. But eventually Storm gives it a good shock and Hisako absolutely smashes it. Just smashes it, and the monster transforms back into the body of Sasaki's lab assistant, Riko. Surprise, surprise. She seems to still be alive, but another of the assistants, Koichi, gets freaked out and just bails. Back on the Blackbird, Xavier thinks back on his history with Sasaki. He met her in Japan. They dated for a while. She's just a regular human, but she loves mutants, so they got along. Eventually, he wanted to go back to his school in New York, and she was like, hey, I already have my school here in Japan. You go do your thing. I got to stay here and do mine. And he tried to reach out to her since then, but she just refused to see him. So no idea what that's about.
With his son the whole time.
With his son the whole time. And he wonders if his son was a mutant, and maybe that's why he's having these, this connection to him now. Either way, he needs more answers. He's on the way. Back with Sasaki, Beast says he wants to take Riko back to New York, better help her with the vaccine. But he goes to give her a shot, and she's like, she's got like fucking track marks. Like, what are all these like injection spots? And Sasaki's like, Sasaki just
that's that dog food, man. That's that heroin.
She's
the heroin. That dog food.
Bruh.
Like, too much rap.
I don't understand like the motivation of like all the X-Men in almost every scene, but this scene in particular, when she was just like, they were like, yo, like, what is this? She was like, insulin. And
yeah, she's like, I think she's got diabetes or something.
And he's just like, so wait, you're the doctor and you run this and these are your students. You don't know about their medical condition. She was like, I don't feel well. I'm leaving. I'd be like, hold the fuck up.
Oh, so
You know
in
what I'm
the
saying?
dub, she doesn't say that. In the dub, she says, I stay out of personal business or something like that.
No, she
Yeah,
said that
she-
too.
Oh, okay.
She said that too. But then like
But
when
she
she
does
exited,
go like,
she's like, I don't feel well. I'm
I
leaving.
don't feel good.
If
I
I
gotta
was
go.
the Beast in that moment, I'd be like, that's so funny because I'm feeling great. Get over here.
Yeah.
Beast was not having it. Beast was having his wits end with her. Like, fam,
He
you gonna
really
tell me
was.
some shit.
Wolverine and Cyclops, meanwhile, go to check out Rico's room and find the vial that she had injected into herself, collect the evidence. And they go to see Koichi as well, see what he's up to, and deduce like, okay, you also must be a mutant, afraid of transforming. And he said he and Rico used to go to the academy, the Sasaki Academy, which is basically how they ended up here working as lab assistants. But this other guy, June, he's new. He's only been around for, a few months, like 9 months, I think he says. And by the way, we see he's just outside the door listening in to all this. Suspicious. They ask him what's in the injections, and he's like, hey, Sasaki told me to keep it a secret. And then, surprise, he transforms too. But this time into a huge monster that just like explodes out of the room. And then, yes, meanwhile, Beast is trying to level with Sasaki, like, listen, we know you're up to something. Everything leads us back to here. And you're a doctor that works on mutants. How can you know nothing about this virus? And she's just like, I don't know. I don't feel good. I gotta go take a nap.
He lets her go again. I'm just saying, like, there ain't no way. Cyclops got to step up. Like, okay, so, like, Wolverine stand in the doorway. Like, she ain't going nowhere.
But they weren't there yet because they're dealing with all this other shit because she walks out and walks right into the path of the raging Koichi. And once again, she's in danger. Hisako tries to fight him, but he's too strong, pins her to the ground. But he's actually not hurting Sasaki. And Wolverine's like, you got a thing for her? Or like, what's going on? It seems to be allowing him to like kind of fight through the chaos and calm down a bit. But he certainly doesn't feel that way about the X-Men because all of a sudden he goes fucking berserk. It punts Cyclops through a window, like into this vaccine room, swallows Wolverine whole. Luckily, he's able to just carve his way out, and the rest of the team are able to beat this dude into submission. But as the smoke clears, Emma can see that Mastermind is actually watching from the shadows. And before he just like magically transforms back into June and walks off. And they don't go chase him down. Instead, they just put everybody up in a bed. They ask the doctor, what the hell is going on? Koichi has the same injection marks, and Cyclops found a stockpile of whatever the hell this stuff is, and she just like collapses knowing she's caught. She doesn't say a thing. But before we get any more answers there, we head back to Xavier on his way to the scene when some sort of portal in the sky opens up in front of him and just swallows him in the Blackbird hole, and he becomes lost in some weird, strange, dark dimension. Who knows? But that's where we'll pick up next time with episodes 9 through 12.
Who had the beeping in the backdrop? I just want to know.
Right now?
No, a second ago.
Oh, I don't know.
Me.
I don't know.
That was me.
Oh, I was just saying, whoever that was, like, they were backing up all the way down the longest driveway. I have never heard a beeping backup last that long. I'm so sorry.
I tuned it out, so I didn't know how long it was going on for.
I found it comical. At first, I was like, oh, this is annoying. And then it just kept going for like, it was like literally like 4 minutes. And I'm just like, what are they doing? So sorry.
That was me. They're doing construction or some shit.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's for funny. All the fans out there who had to hear that beeping. I'm just letting y'all know, like,
we're still doing Zoom here. We're not in the studio, man.
Yeah, we heard that too, just so you know.
Well, shout out to Rob as always for the recap.
That's one of the greatest fucking anime podcasts in the entire world. Because you hear 4 minutes of straight beeping, and we still getting after it. It didn't faze Rob at all.
You see,
the greatest.
I was in the zone,
he
man.
Had to drop it in there twice because he missed last week, I'm guessing. So
he did double up.
Double up on
That's
it.
that double
but
up.
Yeah, appreciate you, Rob, as always, for the recap. Now, time for the questions. A lot of questions for this show. I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of stuff to talk about after that too.
Y'all got questions? I struggled, boy.
My questions are so trash, huh?
Actually, I like your questions, Brennan.
I struggled getting these two. I asked the same question I asked before, and Keenan was like, "Fam, we already asked." Fuck.
I almost just sent a text to Keenan, just like my questions. And just, why? Why?
We have a question. We have a question that actually goes together, so I'll ask that one first. If you had Professor X's powers, would you respect people's privacy, or would you just do it? And second part to that question is, would you let a telepath scan you? So this is kind of like Brennan and I's question combined. I'll answer first. In all honesty, if I had that power, I don't give a fuck what you say. I'm using it. Hey, don't read my mind. What? No problem. I won't read your mind. I'm gonna read your mind anyways. It depends on who I'm dealing with. If I'm in a situation where I feel like somebody's being shady, I'm gonna read your mind without asking you for what. you're being shady at this point. You're being a liar. You're being deceitful. So I'm going to do what I have to do to get the truth. I like the truth, whether it hurts me or not. So I'd rather have that. So me personally, yes, I'm reading your mind right now. I want to read Brendan's mind because he's yawning and just be like, what is he thinking about? Thinking about this shit. And yes,
it's the morning, bro. We started this joint. Just so y'all know, today was 9 a.m. Thank you, Ice.
Early as
Please
fuck.
continue.
Nobody was happy for this.
What is this is on Ice. So.
Oh, me? Oh, because I couldn't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I couldn't do the day.
The entire day, I'm completely unavailable. Sorry, guys.
I am. I am.
Busy man. He's got a secret life.
Kramer got the disco.
Yeah, just so y'all know, Ice has a new nickname that was given to him by Keenan. He is now Kramer.
Yep. He's a Kramer.
The black Kramer, the hair seems to go with it, the attitude without question, and the mystery around who he is and all the things that's been in his past.
And the lack of logic. Kramer just be saying the most ridiculous stuff that makes no sense.
I think it's perfect.
Second part of my question, real quick.
So.
I would let somebody scam me if somebody wanted to scam me to get if especially if I felt like I was telling the truth and they didn't believe me. I'd be like, yo, man, just go ahead, man, do it. Just get it out.
I didn't see you going to 10 for that. I was taken off guard with that.
I was there, man.
Yeah.
I was in
because
it.
If I feel like when I know I'm telling the truth and nobody's believing me, I get very frustrated. So people can brush it off, be like, well, if you don't care, if you don't understand or whatever, they can just walk off. Be like, nah, man, like I'm telling you the fucking truth. Listen to me.
Yeah.
Brennan.
For me, like my response was like, if somebody said to me, like, I don't want you to read my mind. My response to that question, that statement would be like, you mean again? Like, that's what I would say. Cause it's like, it would already have been happening while you were asking the question.
Hilarious.
You know, or telling me that you didn't want me to do it. So like, you should never have your thoughts feel safer on me if I could read them.
Oh, for like, Brennan, I would never. I would be thinking shit on purpose in front of Brennan so he could just read and be like,
well, I mean, the thing is,
it was the cloud.
So obviously I read the comics and I understand like the different levels of like how Professor X can read somebody's mind depending on the different iteration of the writers or whatever. Yeah. But typically it goes well beyond the ability to read just like what you're thinking in that moment. You can dive into their actual memories. You can dive into anything that they're not even thinking about to be able to learn more about who they are, their past, and even be able to bring stuff up, take control of their brains, like be able to get them to do actions, freeze them, put them to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like Professor X's powers are just, he's insane. Like for me personally, I think like he's one of when at full capacity or when he feels like being it, he's pretty much one of the most powerful beings in anything that's ever been because he can literally control your mind, which is just insane. Not only read it, not only understand it, not only read through anything that's going on, he can control what you do because your mind controls what you do. I
got a question now that you say that. So technically they have this is an anime now. So when you talking about the strongest anime people ever, since it's an adaptation of a cartoon or in a comic, do they come in the conversation or we still leave those guys out of it?
Well, I think we only can let them be in the conversation as they are. And this Professor X apparently struggles to read people's minds. Like he is weak sauce to the 10th degree. It seems like every other telepath or like anybody else on this show is as or stronger than him, which is not the case in the X-Men universe at all. Like he is the god tier. And it's like anybody else is just like, they bow before him whenever he pulls up and he's like, no, let's do some, you want to do a cycle? Like every time there's a battle in the brains, Professor X shows up with the hands and nobody ever messes with him for the most part.
The hands.
He does. So
not the feet.
Yeah, he does. I remember I was reading Secret War and like the X-Men are always like kind of doing their own thing and like they're off on their own and like they're like, oh, we're gonna get out of here, like leave all these other like heroes behind, the Avengers. We're gonna do our own thing. And Spider-Man overhears it and beats the shit out of them and is like about to get away. And Professor X is just like boop boop, and then he just he's like running down the hallway and Spider-Man's just like, what the hell am I running for? What was I doing? All right, well, back about my business, and just like completely forgets everything, and like they just totally get away with it.
Where was Professor X when Thanos was doing all this shit?
Right.
There's no X-Men in that universe except for obviously was it Quicksilver and
Scarlet Witch?
Scarlet Witch. That was the only, which is the weirdest thing in the world to me, but I don't even want to get into that. So
they changed up the origins for sure.
Right. So the second half of that question was, would I let somebody to scan me. If it was what's her name in that costume, she could scan everything I'm thinking.
Emma Stone.
Yeah, she can scan every single thought I have. Like, nah, I'm gonna look her in the eye too.
I can see Brennan take off his,
I'm looking
that
at-
Diddy stare, the Diddy and the dude taking off the glasses.
I'm telling you, like, I'm just gonna be like, she's gonna be like, can I read your mind? I'm like, hold on a second. No, right here. Do it. No, slower. Like, get to
Oh my
go
God.
back to that one. Slower.
Yeah.
You didn't see everything.
Hilarious.
You know? So yeah, I mean, for me, I personally don't feel like I really have anything to hide.
Yeah.
I think my intentions are pretty apparent for me. If you know me, you know my intentions, and what I'm thinking is pretty much what you're hearing. So yeah, not too worried about somebody reading my thoughts.
I feel like Brendan's pretty open. Rob?
Yes, I mean, it would be real hard not to scan somebody's brain. Like first impression, like if I shake your hand, like, and we're meeting for the first time, I'd probably scan you. I'd probably just see what was up. After that, I'm not sure if I would. Certainly situations where it's like, okay, somebody's being sketchy and I want to get something. But like, if you're playing like a game or something later, like you're playing like Among Us or Secret Hitler, I don't want, like, you lose the fun of that if you know who everybody is. Like, you break the game. So I wouldn't do it at all times.
Yeah.
But as far as would I let myself be scanned? God, like, yeah, I guess if it was like to exonerate myself from, like, if I was accused of something and I'm like, no, like, you can check, like, go and see where I was. I wasn't there. I was probably doing some other stupid shit. Like, I was just hanging out at home. But other than that, I personally wouldn't want somebody scanning my thoughts. It just feels weird for somebody to be creeping around your brain. Like, I don't know. It's a weird space to have to share with somebody else.
They can go as deep as Professor. They just had the limit of only being able to read your thought right, like that. I think it's not as bad. But if they had the full on Professor X powers, then hell nah, no way.
Yeah.
Ice.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I would scan people, and I wouldn't mind to be scanned, depending on who it is and what are we doing.
Ice, would you let me scan you, Ice?
Yeah, I would. No, I wouldn't. That'd
Bro,
be fine.
Ice is a goddamn
'Cause you
liar.
gotta-
If Ice was dealing with a woman that can scan minds,
Oh, that's different. Brennan asked him. I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to hide from Brennan.
That is so
it
funny.
really comes down to the person. If Brennan and you three was like, "Hey, let me scan you," because I've been upfront and truthful with all three of y'all about anything.
Yo, that's
I've
not.
done,
Can we just take a moment with how funny
No,
what Keelan said is?
like I said, Brennan, if you want to scan me, bro, go ahead. You got it, dog. It's all you, big
every
dog.
woman that meets you has that power. When she first meets you, Ice, you cool with them letting her scan you?
Hell no. Not at all. Not at all. But you guys go for it. I feel
like Ice. I feel like Ice
Brennan,
starts
you got
socking
it.
herself in the head if she's like, "Can I read your mind?"
I start thinking of just random shit. I start fucking rapping, thinking of songs and shit.
This is the theme song all the time.
Yeah. Oh man, that's
funny as hell.
Yo, thank you for that, Keenan. That was a good laugh.
Okay, no problem, man.
Ice is just like, nah, she will not, cannot. Matter of fact, he's gonna put on Magneto's helmet and then Juggernaut's helmet on top
Yo,
of it.
that's so funny. I can see Ice
Double
rocking
layer.
the Magneto helmet
Y'all say
on a date, dog. What's up with the helmet? It's a style thing, baby. That's what I do. I gotta protect my hair.
I love fashion.
Injury. I had an injury,
Oh my God. Sort of a tastemaker.
Hilarious.
Starting a trend.
Okay, next question. Has there been a character on a show where we watched that had something to hide and acted as suspiciously as Dr. Sasaki? Is that her name, Sasaki?
Yeah, Yui Sasaki.
Yes. Has any character that we watched acted suspiciously as her? Rob?
No, I'm going to say absolutely not. No, I don't know how you have a bunch. I don't know how you have something to hide, have a bunch of people come in and just literally just ask to get out of the cold, and you immediately start acting suspicious as fuck. Go like, okay, yeah, no, cool. Like, you guys are cool. And then go call their boss and be like, get him out of here. And then tell everybody to just and start injecting yourself with stuff, but don't let anybody see it. And then as soon as they start seeing that stuff, she's just like, oh, yeah, I don't know about all that. I think she's got like she's got insulin shots or something like that. Does not coordinate with anybody on her team. Doesn't say like, hey, take this. Don't let them see you. But if you do see, like if they do, tell them it's this. Like they are all like completely on their own. Like fucking Elle would have caught this woman dead to rights so long ago.
Oh, she's done, bro.
Yeah.
She is done.
Yeah, that
Elle
is like,
would
I
have-
feel like Elle is your spirit animal, Rob.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm watching this like literally
like-
as soon as she walked out of every room, everybody's just like, well, she's fucking lying. Like immediately everybody was on that shit. She was the worst liar. The worst liar.
Terrible.
Rob, can you answer that? Is Elle your spirit animal?
Oh, I love Elle. Yeah, Elle's great.
Yeah, I feel like out of every character,
That's how
every
he approaches situations. What would L do?
What would Elle do?
he's
He
sitting.
has a bracelet. Like, what would Elle do?
Rob's sitting in his chair right now with his legs up. We just can't see it. He's sitting.
Yeah, just
Bare ass
knees
feet.
up.
Ice.
Eating my candy.
I don't. No, I don't think so. That's just that had nah. Outside of, I mean, he was a pump fake, but you know, Park Moojin, I feel like he had some suspicious stuff going on, just depending on like you couldn't really tell if he was good or bad or what his motives were. Honestly, I still don't know outside of getting the key. But yeah, I think he's that's what comes to mind. I'm sure of the stuff we watch, there's more suspicious people, but that more suspicious than her, I think, is a tough one.
Yeah, more. I mean, I feel like Light was suspicious to me. You know, I think even though he was good at covering stuff up, he always would have been in the back of my mind like, I don't trust this motherfucker, man. I just don't fully trust this dude. He's too good. And but suspicious. She's just so dumb. It makes her, or she's just so, I don't know. She's just not going about it right. She just seems stupid, and it makes her seem just the least. Brennan,
Neon Genesis, the father.
it's a good one.
I say that's probably the best person I could think of when it comes to like nobody compares to her. But like, who's the second most suspicious person that we've seen in any of the anime we've watched? The father. Even though he was like, I'm obviously a bad father. It's just like, but there was obviously so much more going on in the backdrop that he just was just like, I got all these things happening. So I think he was pretty suspect. But no, she takes the cake. But I mean, I feel like it's a consolation prize. I feel like it's just like a by default prize because that the acting and the motivation and the writing of the show is so trash. They're like, let's make a suspicious character. Like, okay, take it to 11. You know what I'm saying? Like every time they do anything in the show, they're like, take it to 11. And they do it in the worst way possible. Like, you could take it to 11 in a good way. Like, for example, like right now I'm watching a show, like one of the best first episodes I've ever seen in anything is a show called Gangs of London. I don't know if any of you guys, you've ever seen it before, but I just recently saw the first episode of this. It's on Amazon. I'll tell you right now, it might be the best first episode of literally anything I've ever seen.
It's an anime or it's a regular show?
It's not. It's just a regular show. So like I say, it's a good show to like sit down with your girl and watch it or whatever. But when it's time for hands, they go hard and take it to 11. If you've seen The Raid, the same guy that did the fight choreography from The Raid did the fight choreography for this show. Yes, it's that.
I'm in.
It's
That's all you
yeah.
had to fucking say, bro. I am in.
Yo, like, so wait, Ice, have you seen The Raid?
No, I actually bought it the other day, and I wanted to watch it.
You have no idea what you're in for.
You bought the
my
first
friend.
one or the second
Like,
one?
The first one.
Both of them are excellent.
Both of them were
in different ways.
Yeah.
Both of them are excellent in different ways. Rob, have you seen The Raid?
No, but we talked about it a few times.
Rob, I swear to God.
It's worth it, bro.
Like, I'll give Ice a pass, but no, Rob does not get a pass. Rob watched that shit.
All right.
But all I'm saying is that show gets after it. It takes everything to 11 in the sense of like the writing and directing, the cinematography, the acting. Everything's on 11 in a really, really good way. Whereas this show is like everything's to 11. Maybe I'll call it negative 11 because it's just like the suspicion was just so much. Like, all right, so literally inject this purple liquid into your body, but don't tell anybody about it. Oh my God, you turn into a monster. Don't tell nobody nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so far into the left zone of suspicious that it's just boring. Because I'm just like, come on, fam. Like,
what are you doing? You didn't have any plan?
Suspension of belief.
Yeah, like, I feel like Beast should have just clocked her from the beginning. Like, as soon as, like, that first thing happened and she's like, I don't know what's happening, I'd be like, And that's it. Like, all right, cool. Now you're in the hospital bed. Now let's ask you some questions. You know?
Was that everybody? Answers?
Yep.
This is a fun question. Was there a time where you wanted to fight a kid? Ice?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I think the time that comes up the most is I grew up loving wrestling. Like, I was a huge wrestling fan. And then my homeboy and I was like maybe 13 at the time. And my homeboy and I was wrestling. We just had our like Royal Rumble and stuff. And I was like winning the fight, like, you know, between him and I. And then I guess his little brother, who was like maybe 6 or 5, he saw me like, you know, on his brother beating him up and stuff. And he just comes sock me square in the eye, like square, all his strength, and just, and just hits me in my eye. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I turned to him, and it's just like I had to like keep from like tossing him across the room. And he's just sitting there like, and he tries to swing again, and I grab his arms, and then I just like, hey, like, get your brother before I had him. Like, it took all the strength in me just not to fucking fling him across the room. But yeah, he socked me. Because, you know, kids don't know their strength.
Right.
And they just fucking
they go all out.
And when I say he got me square in my eye, like, his whole fist fit, like, right in my eye. I'm like, fam, bro, we gotta square up. Like, you need to kick his ass. If not, I am.
Just lift him over top of your head.
Brennan?
You know, like, the funny thing is I've worked with kids a lot, and I volunteer with kids outside of pandemics. And I don't think I've run into that situation. Like, I've fought with kids before. And I've had kids piss me off, but I've never been like, I'm ready to fight this kid. Like, it's more like the furthest I'll go is just like, you don't get to be around me anymore. Like, that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of how I'm just like, because I like to think the kids have a really good time with me because I have a lot of childlike energy. I'm very good. I still play video games. I still have Pokemon cards. I still do watch anime, obviously. So I normally can connect with kids on a level that most adults can't.
Be careful when you say stuff like that.
Right, boy. You
what do you mean?
Call me Epstein. Look at your ass.
They're like, kids just love me. You know, I'm just like.
Right.
What's that line for School of Rock? Like, your children have touched me, and I'm pretty sure.
Windows.
What kind of car you got,
touched your
Brennan?
children.
Right, man.
Right.
I should have known better. Like, I was actually being like earnest, authentic, and like,
Sincere.
I let you slide. You came out the gate saying, I love kids. I love to work with kids.
I do.
I'm gonna let them have it.
I do love kids.
I'm gonna let you have it.
I feel like
But
if I was a school
then you doubled
teacher,
down and started getting pedo bears.
well, the thing is, I didn't. When did I? All I'll say is, look, I worked when I was living in Detroit. I worked as a match specialist for mentoring, and I worked with kids to be able to match them with adults to be able to have them get mentoring from somebody in a professional setting. So I did that, and that really inspired me. And I was like, yo, like, and even when I was in college, I volunteered in like Pontiac, which is not the greatest place to do it, but I'll go into the schools and volunteer after school with the kids and like help them with their homework and, you know, beat their asses in every kind of like Connect Four games and stuff like that. And I've been doing it. Like, I've consistently always done it. I've done it with the YMCA and the Urban League out here in LA. I've done it with AmeriCorps, you know, like coaching corps. Like, I truly do enjoy working with kids. Like, I really do. Because they're fun. Like, and I like to play, and like a lot of adults don't like to play anymore. Like, they get annoyed really quick, or just like, I don't want to run around. I don't want to play a game. And I'm just like, I always want to play a game. Like, I always want to compete. I always want to teach somebody something. Like, and I just have a lot of fun.
Bro.
I feel like Brennan just like beat little kids' asses though. I feel like he has.
Oh, I beat them in everything.
Yeah.
I decimate them.
And crush them.
Don't take it easy.
Question out of that.
No, but I don't talk shit though. I don't talk shit unless they do. A lot of kids do talk a lot of shit.
Say.
But if they, you know, but normally I'm there. Like, I normally am like, yo, I want to make this a memorable, positive thing for you, whatever that moment is. You know, like, I want to create a positive memory for you, or just at the very least a really, really fun time. So no, I have not ever had that experience. Because for me, every time a kid starts acting a fool or whatever, you know, I'm normally just like, I get very serious. I'm just like, we're done. Stop it. Actually, matter of fact, you don't get to play anymore. Get out of here. Like, or whatever.
That actually probably
whatever
hurts them even
consequence
more,
I give
though,
them.
to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's the
true.
point. Like, they learn that lesson.
Let me ask you a quick question before
Yeah.
I go
I feel like, yeah, you the kids at the you the guy at the basketball camps that be blocking people's shots and shit. You know, when people get to hang out with KD and they be like, I'm gonna play KD, and then get your shit out of here.
Nah, I remember one of the most rewarding, because I'm so petty, one of my favorite moments ever of working with kids was favorite and least favorite moment at the same time is because I was working with the AmeriCorps for coaching corps, where we work with like chronically ill kids and teaching them sports. And so I was one of the coaches of one of these sports teams, and there was like 3 coaches to the team. And then there was 4 coaches to each team. And so I was one of the coaches, and we were probably like 6 weeks into the season, seeing them once or twice a week. And I ended up, when we were still working with transit pitchers, we ended up getting a really big job that I was going to have to leave the country for. I think I had to go like to the Philippines or something, and I was going to be gone for like the next 5 or 6 weeks, which was the rest of the season. So like I had to I was super sad about it. Like it was my last week there, and I just had to tell everybody that, hey guys, I sat the whole team down. I was like, all the other coaches were behind me. And I was just like, yo, guys, I'm really sorry. And then like, I'm not going to be here anymore. Like, hopefully I'll be back next season, but like work is going to take me out of town, whatever. And like all the kids did this exact same thing. And it was the best in the work. They were like, but you're our favorite. You're the best coach ever.
Oh my gosh.
And all the other coaches were standing right behind me. And they're all just like, what? And I'm just, you know, and I was, for me, on the inside, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, Brennan got off on that.
Outside, but on the outside, I was like, no, all the coaches are like, all the coaches are the best. All the coaches are the best. They're going to treat you guys so good. And a bunch of kids started crying and stuff. And I was just like, no, it's so good.
Yeah, I know Brennan loved that shit. Brennan was like, yes, I knew it. I am the best.
Validation from children, you know.
Brennan the best!
Yes. That's why his name is Brennan the best. Real quick question before I go to Rob. Is Pontiac, that city of Pontiac, is that where they named the cars Pontiac?
No, yes and no, because Pontiac is actually a Native American name of a tribe that was native to the Michigan area. So that area was the Pontiac River area. There's like a Pontiac River and lake and stuff like that. So Pontiac was named after that area, not necessarily that specific city, and named after that tribe.
Okay.
So,
Rob?
Question is, have I ever wanted to fight a kid? 110%. No, I'm like the complete opposite of Brennan. I am like, you know, I've had experiences where I worked with kids that were good, but in general, I try to avoid them. I don't really know what to do with kids or do when I'm around them. I'm like, all right, cool. Like you're small. Like we don't really have anything to talk about or have anything in common. Like,
God damn, Rob.
Rob, you have so much in common, bro. Like, literally, you're the biggest comic book and movie, like Star Wars. Most kids like that shit.
I don't know. You know, maybe it was because I grew up an only child. Like I was around adults a lot of my life. Like I was just like, it was like me in a room full of adults. And so that I just kind of grew up that way. Like other kids were kind of like, all right, I don't really know how to talk with you as much. So maybe that's just a holdover. But I could think of one specific time in high school. I was in drama club. We were doing a play. We were doing Beauty and the Beast. And so like we got like a little kid like from one of the elementary schools to we got one of the kids from the elementary school to come up and play Chip, the little teacup character. Anyway, he was all right. You know, we had a good time. I remember like he and I were kind of just like, we were kind of like just joking around, like almost having like a roast battle a little bit. And like, yeah, we were just like having a good time. And like people were kind of like, you know, kind of like watching and like it was fun. And then the kid just said something like, well, that's why you have no penis or something like that. And everybody like in the circle was just like, oh, and when I tell you I saw red, when you talk like you almost like picked that kid up. I just wanted to like 300 style, just like toss him like off the stage. And I just was like, well, you know what? Fuck you. And like everybody was like, whoa, Rob, like not cool. And I had to step away and eventually like, oh, listen, man, like I'm really sorry. I just like it just kind of went there.
Yo, Rob.
Oh
That
my
was the
God.
best story.
I thought I had something good. I'll just tell mine quick then now.
Rob has the best stories. I don't know if we've ever gotten into the Frisbee story, but please continue.
Oh, man. I mean, I would Rob in a sense of like, too. I wanted to 100% fight a child because I worked as a teacher's aide for like 4 or 5 years. And when I worked at the teacher's aide out here, some schools you get put into, there's just children out there. They just like, even the teachers just feel like, just let them go. Just don't. And it was like this little black kid. So as a black man, I wanted to connect. And I was like, maybe because he's not around any black people here. That's probably what his issue is. He'd go around, he'll punch teachers in the face. He'll grab your milk, he'll throw the milk at you, open carton, like he'll bite you. He didn't give a shit. And I remember I was trying to talk to him, and similar to what I said.
How old is he?
He was probably like 4 or 5. This is like early development center. So it's like before the first grade. And I remember he socked me, he kicked me. He used to pinch the fuck out of me. And I remember, because they always tell you too, no things, you can't even grab the kid and be like, hey, like just sit down. You can't do nothing. You cannot touch these kids. And I remember I was like, how do you deal with him without grabbing this motherfucker? And they were just like, they're just like, we just let him, because he's like, we were just like you. You only been here a few days. We've been with him for the past like 2 years. We just let him do what he wants. There's no controlling him. And then you just see it, he run around the play field, he'll punch a kid in the face, and they'll be like, don't punch people. Shut up, bitch! Ah! And I was just like, but then I found out, I think his parents had like a language barrier, like they're from another country. So there's a lot of stuff going on that I just don't think I don't know. I don't know where the kid is now. I hope he's better. But that was one kid I was like, man, I wanted to run the fade with him. Like I wanted to like square off.
He comes to one of your shows now and socks you up.
Oh, I mean, as strong as he was at that age, he might get me, bro. If he's like, I mean, probably now like 14, 15, he might get a shot off of me. I'd be like, oh shit. Man. Next question. So do you think it was a good choice for them to write an original story for this, or do you think they should have adapted one of the existing ones? Rob.
So I respect their choice to do something new. I get it. You know, they want to try to place it in a new place, you know, do a new story. But honestly, I think I would have had a better time watching them, like, you know, especially seeing that like Phoenix fight and knowing what that story is and like everything it culminated into. I'm just like, fuck, I wish we were watching that. You know, like I kind of wish they had just done that, because now I know, like they started off like, oh man, like this crazy climactic battle. And like, now it's kind of just like all this little stuff that I'm like, well, this isn't like close to fucking Phoenix Force. Like, what are you talking about? So it would have been really cool, I think, to really, especially if you're trying to show off like, all right, you got one shot to make an X-Men anime, adapt like a tried and true like a story that people want to see. That would have been probably my choice. But I get why they did it, but I think it probably would have been better to just honestly play it safe. Just do something people have seen before, get in, get out, make it stylized, and just do your thing.
Yeah, I think I respect the choice that they went original, just because if they did a story that's already been done, we would have knocked them for not doing it well. We would have crushed them for it. They do same thing. They do one of the animated versions from out here. They do that version of it and put it there. Same thing. Our one was better. I think it was just best for them to let them kind of do their own thing, take the characters, probably have an outline of what they probably want them to do, and then kind of create something. And so they probably won't get as much flack of it being trash and ruining the X-Men because they didn't take a story that we loved and that we read the comic book on and stuff like that. So I guess I don't necessarily mind it. Ice?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I feel like the story that they had some meat to it, but I think that they could have just executed it better. I think that for the reasons that we talked about, and even when you think of X-Men, you don't necessarily think of mystery, at least to this extent. So they really could have really leaned into it and been on 11, like Brennan said, but like make it plausible and make it just not to the point where you're like, all right, guys, come on. Like they really could have made it like a real good mystery where because I'm kind of not bought in, but like intrigued by it, but they just dropped the ball and the execution is poor. But I feel like the story is fine if they had, if they properly executed it.
Go ahead, Brandon.
The story is fine, like the.
Go ahead. I'm pretty sure.
In the sense of like, there's something going on. There's something going on in Northern Japan. We got to figure that shit out. Like that part, I feel like is cool. Like the mystery of it, but obviously the execution is not there at all.
Go ahead, Brandon.
I mean, I don't give them any points for trying to do something original. I think that it was it was very stupid to try to recreate something that's worked for literally generations. You know what I'm saying? Like decades. Like this show's been out since the 60s and has been like these stories of the X-Men have been out since the 60s and have been retold countless times to nobody's fatigue. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone loves these stories. Just like how many times can we reboot Spider-Man and people are going to still watch it? You know what I'm saying? Like it works.
We're getting tired of these Spider-Mans. Trust me. Besides Miles,
I'm saying that Miles
Morales, no, but like,
I'm tired of X-Men. I'm tired of. I was tired of X-Men.
Well, the thing is like they keep running off the same thing. But my point being is that like first of all, this was made in 2011. So when you say you're tired of X-Men, you're talking 2020 ice. Like this is 2011, and there's so many storylines. You can go X-Force, which is before X-Men. You can go X-Men. You can go into each individual character that is already in there. You know what I'm saying? There's so many ways to go. Look at Rob's backdrop. You know what I'm saying? You could tell that story. You know, like Rob to lean over. My point being is that I think that like
we've seen Wolverine, all right? We've heard the story a million times.
Nobody asked you. Nobody said nothing about you, Kenny. But my point being is that I think that this is one of the biggest missed layups and opportunities I've seen, because you already have a really, really dope anime studio. The animations of this show are really good. You know what I'm saying? Like the ability of what they could have done with this show is incredible. It's like because I understand the production process so well, and I've actually worked on animations before to get them to come to life. It makes it even my mind boggles even further to say like the storyboard artists, the director, and the writers sat in the room and they looked at these frames before they animated them and said, "This is good." You know what I'm saying? Like this dialogue. You know what I'm saying? Like this dialogue. This
I feel like they didn't do that though. I feel like they couldn't have.
They had to have.
And if they did, the sessions were, I mean, or it might be infield baseball. I mean, inside baseball, where it's like everybody jacking each other off and they just think it's the best shit ever and nobody want to hurt nobody's feelings because they're getting paid.
I feel like this was one of those things that some investor or some person just showed up with a bunch of money and was like, I want y'all two to work together. And those two people were like, well, I don't like them. Well, I don't like them. Well, I ain't going to, I'm just going to do the bare minimum. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it feels like for all aspects of the show. It's just like, I'm doing bare minimums. Like, when I direct these voice, I didn't get to pick the voice actors for this show, so I'm going to direct them poorly. I didn't get to pick the animators, so I'm just going to make the choices to move the story along. I didn't get to, like, I feel like there's just like this back and forth. Like, I didn't get to, is what this whole show feels like right now, is where it's just like, I feel like this is big petty energy. And we're looking at the result. Like, this is the petty child. You know what I'm saying? Of like these two companies not wanting to work together. That's how I feel like
it's more of like I wish I had more time. Like, this is what this feels like. I wish I had more time. If I had more time, I would have, like...
No, the thing is, I feel like they had time. No, the reason I feel like they had time is because if you actually look at, like I said, specifically the thing that takes the most time is what? The animation. You know what I'm saying? And the animation is pretty dope on a lot of... Like, think about, like, that first scene with the Phoenix and, like, even just what Cyclops' blazer looks like and every time he lets it go. Like, the amount of time they put into this is just insane. When it comes to the animation, which is the most time-consuming aspect of it. So for me, it couldn't just be the time. Like, it might be a little bit rushed to get to the animation side of it, but like for me, like there has to be something deeper underneath this. And you also notice that this collaboration was for 4 projects, right? What happened next? That was in 2011. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because they didn't like each other, because it didn't work, because this whole synergy just wasn't there. This could have been the next start of a dynasty. If you think about the elements that came together here, Marvel Studios and Sunrise, 2 of the biggest animated or like storytelling organizations on the goddamn planet that both have a crazy record of doing incredible things and generating massive followings for what they do, did not work out. You know what I'm saying? Like, what could have been here is just like deplorable to me. It's like, this could have been the next big thing, and it wasn't. Because this is trash, and there was something wrong from the beginning, which I feel like, again, has to go with control, power, and pettiness. But also, too, I feel like the animated fan base from Marvel stuff or anything, DC, Marvel, anything, it really wouldn't have been the next big thing. I feel like we love movies that's animated, but we aren't pulling up to theaters to see an animated movie to a certain extent, especially something that's Marvel or DC. Like, most of those stuff are straight to TV. I mean, straight to DVD, VOD stuff. So I think that as far as saying it's the next big thing, I don't think it would have been. Crunchyroll has more streams than almost any other top 3 biggest streams of almost any video platform on the goddamn planet, and it's literally just anime. So my point being is like, yes, it could be a big thing just because you're looking at traditional, like, oh, the movie theater. Like, no, fuck the movie theater. Movie theaters are dying right now because of a pandemic. True. It does not matter. Like, what I'm talking about is engaging an audience, building an audience, and then maintaining the ability for that audience to be able to come back and buy merch, buy more subscriptions to their streaming service, and be able to continue to build that fan base that you'll have for generations like they both have done separately. Is all I'm saying. They've done it separately before. Think of what, if they worked and played well together, what could have been. And so for me, it's like, it feels to me like two big-headed people got in the room and like neither one of them would bow in any way, shape, or form, but they had to do it because an outside source already paid for it. So they're like, fine. And that's what this ended up being.
You have to imagine too, like, Disney bought Marvel in 2009 and this came out in 2011. So it's possible that this was something that was like kind of like Brennan said is already in the works when Disney makes this acquisition. They just kind of got to go through with it. Cause like if you have to imagine if Disney saw a dime to be made from this, they would have fucking made it. They would have keep making this stuff if they could get literally a fucking cent out of it.
True. I agree with that. I mean, that's actually a really good point, Brennan. That's a really good point.
Yeah, it is.
Next question. Have you ever had any training where a training session where you felt like you got pushed too far? Oh man. Go ahead, Brennan. I got one.
I mean, I have quite a few examples of this. I mean, I played, like for me, one of the best example I have of a training session going too far is, have you ever heard Oklahoma in football?
No, I don't think so.
Like University of Oklahoma?
No. It's a drill called Oklahoma.
What is a drill?
It is literally the dumbest drill I've ever heard of. I think our coaches were sadistic fucking assholes, and they decided that they want to do something called Oklahomas. And what they did is they took the team and split it in half, and they lined us up 25 yards apart. And they said, the two people in the front of the line literally just run at each other and hit.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, we did that. We just call head up drills, but...
Yeah.
No, but those are different.
We didn't run from the 25-yard line. We would sit right there on the ground.
You're on the ground, and then you hit.
Yeah,
These are like open field tackle, but you're both trying to tackle each other at the same time. Like run at each other, collide.
That's insane.
That's why I quit football, actually, because I remember... No, because like, here's what happened. Like, I remember I was doing it and like, I was in there was like the way they did middle school football in my school is they did it by weight. So there was the lightweight team and then there's the heavier weight team. And I was on the lightweight team. So I'm a small person. I was much smaller in middle school. Like I was maybe 100 pounds, if that. And so they put me on that team. They had one guy on our team, Brandon Dunn. Yeah, I'm gonna say his name. Brandon Dunn. Like, I don't care what anybody says.
Sounds like an athlete, to be honest.
Bro, like he was, first of all, he was a year older than us. And he was definitely over the weight. Like, there's no like he was so much bigger than the rest of us. And for some reason, they were like, all right, like I remember that I was like in the middle of the line, and then Brandon Dunn came to the front of the line and everything else, and everybody was just like, whoo, yeah. And then I remember the coach was like, Edwards, get up there. And I'm just like, what? Me? Like I don't even know. Like why? Edwards? I was like, okay. And I remember we ran at each other, we hit, and I was just like, just smoked in the ground. Like I felt like I had an imprint of my body on the ground. And then like I was literally just laying there like, and the coach was like, that was pathetic, Edwards. Get up and do it again.
It might have seen it out of like Little Giants or something like that.
Yeah, get up and do it again. Get up and do it again. And I remember I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be a bitch. And I did it again. And what I did this time was like I ran at him full force. I dropped to my knee and it was on grass. And I remember sliding on my knee pads and then like just taking out his feet and then flipping him over, and then he fell. And then everybody in the team laughed because I made him fall. And then the coach was like, do it again. And I was just like, that was my trick. I don't have anything anymore. And we did it, and he made us do it again. And I remember just laying in the grass, like looking up in the sky afterwards. And it's just like,
I'm gonna quit this shit.
No, I was just like, here's the exact thoughts that I had. I'll give you the exact order. I was laying in the grass and I was like, I'm never gonna go to the NFL. This hurts a lot. Like my whole body hurts right now. Why am I doing this? I'm not doing this anymore. So I stood up and I just walked straight to the locker room. The equipment girl was there and I was like, hey, Sarah. She was like, hey, Brennan. I was like, here's my helmet. I'll bring the rest back in a minute. And I just gave her my shit. I walked out to the spot where the parents picked us up after practice and I just hung out.
Did you have your glasses on?
Right
Did you
there.
have goggles on when you played football?
No, I didn't wear glasses in school.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Nobody ever made fun of you for that? Like called you a bitch?
They all saw what happened. Why would you call me a bitch? Like first of all, I took him out on the second time. And the third time I got crushed again. And it's like, nobody else got called out like that. Like the coach was like, almost like picking on me. Like nobody else had to do it more than once.
He smelled the bitch in you.
I don't think he's getting called a bitch just because if the dude is way bigger than everybody And Brennan's probably one of the
Everybody was
smallest
scared of
guys.
this kid.
I think like
I was.
Yeah, I think Brennan is a good.
But I'm saying I'm not saying the fact that you took that L like that. No, I'm not at all. I'm saying the fact that you left in the middle of practice.
Nobody ever made fun of me for that. Never. Because
I
everybody,
would've been
I'm going to keep it real.
I would have been on your ass.
Ice, you can talk all the shit you want, but like, if you had seen it and you were there, it's like, this kid was without, like, think about it like this, the most beastly motherfucker on the team.
I'm not challenging the part of what happened to you.
I wasn't, no,
I'm talking
saying I
about the
wasn't
fact
mad.
that you just left in the middle of practice.
No, but my point
that's
being,
some hoe ass shit. Like you
No,
leave
it's
in the
not,
middle of
Ice.
practice.
No, the hoe.
That's
the
some
person-
hoe ass shit. Like why are you
person who
leaving in the middle of practice?
The person who was the hoe was the coach, Ice. That's what you're not seeing. The coach was being the hoe.
I'm not denying that. He is too
So
for
who's
putting
gonna
you in that
who's gonna roast
situation.
me? I'm getting picked on by a grown man and the biggest kid at the same time. I'm just like, and the thing is, I didn't cry. I didn't make a big fuss. I didn't do anything. I just got up and walked away. I was just like, that's it. I literally just walked out.
The thing is, I've seen many people quit in the middle of practice because we had to do nonstop suicides or whatever. I've seen many cats quit, and we didn't make fun of them that much, but. You know, sometimes
you on their ass. I'm not saying it's a life thing. Like remember in 7th grade when Brennan quit football. Like it's not one of those things.
People don't forget
for that. Yeah, but it would definitely be something that would be said. Like damn, done. You know, remember Brandon made your ass quit football, bro. Like
No, funny thing is,
a
I
joke
think
for sure.
I think a couple other people quit with me. Now I'm trying to remember. I think like
and they all getting y'all the 3 musketeers, y'all the 3 quitting ass motherfuckers. I'm on their ass. All y'all getting roasted.
I mean, I think you were different, Ice, because the thing is, you were naturally like just fast or whatever. Like you had natural gifts. Like bro, I was just like clever.
Folded, folded, bro. I have been folded to the point of no return.
By the coach?
I ain't never quit.
I've wanted to quit so many times. When I played football, I played football 1 year.
100%.
I wanted to quit before.
100%.
Football sucks.
You have every athlete had that moment where it's like, fam, all right, dog. Like, I
just realized that I just don't give a shit about football. That was the moment for me. I was like, why do I give a fuck about this sport? I'm never gonna be good at this.
And it was
I'm too small.
One day they're gonna create drones.
I was like, basketball.
Drones.
Immediately, I was just like, basketball is my
right
game.
There,
why am I
he was
football?
like, transit pictures. Yep, I'm doing production.
And on his binder, you got back then you had binder with the little clear thing. You put it in front of your binder. Yeah. Transit pictures. One of these days,
he said transit pictures.
I'm gonna have more money than all of you. I'm gonna live in LA.
Exactly. That was his moment. He said, they was like, what are you gonna do now, Brendan? He was like, I'm a transit. And then he just fucking walks out the equipment room.
Go ahead, Ice.
Yeah. My moment wasn't a really like, it was just, my moment was like, I think I just might be done with athletics just altogether. Because I got into track really late. I didn't start running track till junior year, and the only reason I even ran track is because I got kicked off my basketball team, and I just needed something to do. And I was granted as gifted and talented naturally as I was, it was still a learning curve. And I was a little bit behind as far as like from a jumping perspective. I got on the jumping pretty easily, but like from like sprinting and stuff, I was not where I needed to be. And I didn't like, running wasn't my main event, but I didn't like how slow I was. And then my homie Kyler was like, all right, bro, like there's this training facility that like, if you go here, it's basically the hyperbolic time chamber. It's like you can really catch up to these guys in a short period of time, but this shit is grueling. Like you're gonna earn it. And I'm like, bullshit. There ain't no way that it's gonna hurt me that bad. When I tell you, it was like this place is called Fast Athlete, and it's like everything's air pressurized, and it's like you do certain things. It's like one of the machines is like a squat machine, and then you go like this, like and squat it, but everything is air pressurized. There's no weights, no nothing. And like NFL people go there all the time, and that's what like drew me to. I'm like, damn, people in the NFL, professional athletes going here. Let me do it. And the first workout that I ever had there, like. I passed out. Like I was just like, what the fuck? Like it was just to the next level, to the point. Like only thing I remember doing a workout. Next thing I remember sitting like just kind of waking up, and then the owner of the gym handed me a Cliff Bar. Like you need to take this immediately, or you will not, survive the rest of the day. And I'm like, fuck, man, like, if this what it takes for me passing out to be good in athletics or to catch up, like, fuck it. Like, I don't know if I, if I want to do this, but I ended up going back. I didn't quit. I finished the workout, but it was just one of those things. It's like, damn, like, is this at what cost? That was kind of the conversation that I was having in my head. Like, at what cost am I willing to, go for this shit? Yeah, and that was my moment for sure. But I finished. I didn't quit. I didn't walk out and go to the equipment room.
Good for you, motherfucker.
Rob, you sound like somebody, auntie.
Yeah, no, I definitely had some moments like that. I'll talk about I guess the time that was probably the most intense like training thing actually was part of my black belt test, which we talked about a little bit last week.
Surprise.
And now he just brings it up every week, guys.
Fucking Cobra Kai over here.
But it was like a year-long thing that we had to do. Like there was mental and physical things we had to do for all of it. There was like a written thing. There was like literally a test we had to take. And then there was like obviously a lot of physical shit we had to do too. And the worst one, the one that was always like the horror story that you always heard from, like, hey, so-and-so's taking the black belt test. Like, there was one test that they gave everybody that was like, you ran 5 miles and then you sat in like what we called shikodachi, which was horse stance. You stood, which is basically like a wide squat. After you run the 5 miles, you stand in that stance for half an hour. And that was easily the most grueling thing I have ever done in my life because it was fucking pouring that day and it was not flat. Those of you that I know, those of you that have been to upstate New York, there's a lot of hills. It was uphill. It was downhill. I definitely had times where I was like, all right, nobody's around. Cause like we were in like a big fucking thing. Like nobody's around. I'm going to walk a little part of this section. That was fucking rough. And then when we were doing like the stands afterward, like our sensei would come in and like, we're dying in there and he's coming in with like a Gatorade, just like drinking it, like cooling himself off. Like they would come around, like they took like, cause we were standing in rows, right? And they would have like, they take like a 6-foot bow staff and they'd have like 2 of the other black belts, like start behind us and like keep the bow staff at a certain level, and they would walk down the room from behind us. So if you weren't low enough in your squat, you get whacked in the back of the head with the bow staff. Like that was a long day. That was a long fucking test. That was easily the hardest thing physically I think I've ever had to do in my life.
It's funny because
you gotta whoop somebody's ass off the strength of that, bro. Like going through, like I'm not gonna go through all this stuff and just not whoop somebody's ass. Like somebody's ass will have to get whooped if I'm going
Rob,
through. Like,
have you ever whooped somebody's ass before, Rob?
I've gotten in a couple fights where I whooped ass. Yes.
Okay. The way he said,
not at the karate school. Not at the karate school. I didn't. It never got to serious blows there.
Walk me through that because I think a lot of people, because I've seen both sides of it. I've seen people with black belts get active, and then I've seen people with black belts be bitches, and they just like fold in those situations because they mind don't like call on all of the stuff that they know. So like when you got into those fights, what was your thought process?
It was just muscle memory mostly, just like, all right, like basically square up, get in your stance, and then just like, I knew how to punch. Like I knew that you punch from the legs, like you twist your hips, and like it worked out. It was just, I had the muscle memory. Like honestly, like I didn't really have to think about too much of it because those fights just didn't last that long. Like there was usually, I punched them and they were down, and then it was like, all right, I'm good. Like that was pretty much it.
So you knew like where to punch them and stuff, right? Or was it just?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that stuff. But yeah, I mean, like, in a fight, like if you've been into it, it's sort of just like, you just kind of like go into the moment, and it's just like, all right, like, I was like, for the most part, I was like, let me hit hard and let me hit first. That was basically what that was my thought process, was just like, all right, let's just do this, like strike first and strike hard. That was kind of my thing. Cobra Kai shit.
Yeah. And you don't know who knows what. You don't want to sit there and let's battle and shit. Nah, fuck all that. Get this shit over with.
So because
I'm not trying to grapple either.
And all of that, you had time to get like a horse riding stance and fucking.
not in the horse riding stance. We had different stances. I got something that was a little bit more natural. I'm not getting in the deep squat for that.
You know what's
just
funny?
like deep
I
squat.
know that drill is tough in the sense of like the squatting, We used to do that in basketball. We used to have to stand like in a low defensive stance.
On the wall,
But like for like 5, maybe 10 minutes. Maybe. And that was brutal to me.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine having to do a half an hour after a fucking 5-mile run. I'm pulling a Brennan. I'm out of here, man. I don't care what anybody
Just
says.
disappear like the meme.
The best generals are the ones who know when to retreat.
I'm out of there, bro.
Live to fight again another day.
I told a story before about how I passed out on a mountain with Tony and Chaz. But this is I was working out with Keon, and Keon, he wanted to go extra hard this particular day. And we were lifting weights. And I was fine. The weights portion, I was a little bit tired, but I was fine. And then he was like, we're gonna do a circuit. And a circuit could be like a cardio type of kind of like a calisthenic kind of circuit, whatever like that. And this was like pretty much a nonstop, maybe like a 15 to 20 second break in between after the one full circuit was done. You go through another one 15 seconds later. You really have no rest. And I think I got through the second one. And I was like, hey, Keon, I'll be right back. I just got to go pee real quick or whatever. And I went to the bathroom, bro. I went into the stall. And let me tell you something. This is how bad I was jacked up. I passed out. And I remember I was on the toilet about to throw up. I remember I saw a bunch of pubic hair on the toilet, and I still grabbed the toilet and was just like face in that bitch, probably on somebody's pubic hair. That's how fucked up I was. I literally passed out. Like I locked my stall.
You had dick in your face
with dick hair, nigga. I don't. And I remember I was passed out on the floor. And I remember somebody kind of they were like punching me in my back first. They were punching me in my back. And I was just like, they're like, bro, you okay? And they had to drag me from under the stall. Like they literally dragged me from under the stall. And,
oh my God. Are you serious?
Yeah. Pulled me up against the locker.
Oh.
And he starts, I'm still kind of out. So he did this. He had his knuckle and he dug his knuckle into my chest like this. And I woke up, I was going, my chest. And he was just like, bro, you okay? And I look up and this nigga's digging his knuckle into my chest. And I'm like, what? And he's like, bro, you were fucking passed out under the toilet, man. And I was just like, and what made me upset in a second later, fucking Keon walks in like, hey, I just wanted to check on you. I'm like, nigga, I've been in and out for like 30 minutes.
Oh my God.
It was 30 minutes. So
he said,
was the dude using the bathroom and then saw you?
I guess he came in because it's in a gym, so it's like it was at like 19 Fitness or whatever it's called. I forgot what it's called, Fitness 19 or something like that. And so he ends up giving me some water too. He's making me drink water. He's like, don't drink the water, kind of like just swish it around in your mouth because you got to like hydrate your whole mouth. Like right now, he's like, your face is a different color. You don't even look like. He was saying I don't even look black. That's how fucked up he said I was. So I didn't see my face, but he's like, bro, your color is gone. So that's how I knew I was like jacked up. So he kept telling me, swig water around, spit it out, drink it, and stuff like that.
Did you ever go to a doctor and talk to them about this?
No, I didn't. Because the reason why I didn't, because I knew I wasn't expecting that circuit to be that tough, so I didn't drink a lot of water. So I knew it was 100% dehydration. I knew it wasn't like a thing where I was like fully functional. I ate, I drank, and then I worked out and I passed out. It was literally. I was exhaustion of like, I didn't drink nowhere near enough water, bro. I might have had a bowl of cereal.
I say this out of love, is that you have multiple stories now of you passing out in intense workout sessions and you haven't gone to the doctor about it. All I'm saying is you might want to talk to a doctor. I'm just saying, Rob, have you ever passed out from working out?
Not from a workout, no.
But
Ice, hold on. Ice, have you ever passed out from working out?
Not as extensively as Keenan has, no.
I have never passed out from a workout either, and I didn't used to drink any water growing up because I used to think it made me slow. So all I'm saying is, but I love you. It's probably worth the conversation.
Well, the only reason why I say it wasn't like that, because I think it should be the same way when I was younger. And the time I passed,
that doesn't.
But what I'm saying is, I'm saying when I worked out, I didn't drink any water. I used to go play a full basketball game off eating a donut throughout the whole day and not be tired, not be hungry, right? And then I got older. When I passed out on the mountain, like I told you, all I ate was I woke up in the morning, I ate a fucking sodium ass pastrami sandwich, drank barely any water, and walked up a high ass fucking mountain, and it made sense. That made sense to me.
Look, you could be right, and it could make sense. All I'm saying is I've done some irresponsible things with my body on a consistent basis, and I ain't never passed out. That's it. This is truly not talking shit. I'm literally coming from a space of love. There might be something you need to learn about your body.
It's too real.
Don't end up like one of those black dudes who just keels over and dies in the bathroom because you just refused to go to the doctor because you didn't want to. Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, this is the only reason I'm bringing it up on the podcast is because this is a note for all of us. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we got to take care of our bodies. We got to take care of ourselves. We have to pay attention to our bodies. We have to pay attention to ourselves. And I'm saying that as your fam right now, I'm telling you, I am now concerned about your physical well-being. And I think that you should at least talk to a doctor. I know some doctors you can call for free. If you're worried about the money, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even like,
Brennan's so serious. Brennan's not joking at all.
I'm not joking even a little bit. Like, I'm dead serious. Like, that's a scary story to me. Like if you lost all of the blood to your face and you passed out from a workout like this and you were like laid out.
How long ago was this, Ken?
I was living with Keon, so I would say between 2017.
Not that long ago.
Oh, this is recent.
2016, 2017.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I knew it was because he said it was with Keon. So that's what I'm saying, because I knew he lived with Keon for a while. So all I'm saying is that there's no harm in learning more about the possibilities of what could be going on. That's all I'm saying. You could save yourself a lot of pain for later on.
That black dude that talked to us last week, Keenan, he was just like, damn, y'all really taking care of yourselves at 28 and stuff like that. But, he's like, I'm 51 and I wish I was taking care of myself like y'all are right now. He's like, I just started taking care of myself 4 years ago. Y'all in y'all 20s, early 30s, taking care of yourselves. This is beautiful.
All right, I would definitely look into it. I definitely will. I promise I will. I'm dead serious.
Bottom line, send money to the Cash App so we can get
Save
medical help.
Save Keenan.
All right, we have like two more questions and we're going to wrap it up. What comic story would you like to see animated, Ice?
The Spider-Man, the whole Todd McFarlane Spider-Man comic book series is amazing. He literally, and this is Stan Lee's words that I saw him say himself, he resurrected Spider-Man from in the comics. There was a time, very short story, because in RIP Stan Lee, but I remember he was there with Todd McFarlane at one of the Comic Cons that I went to, and he was talking about like how Spider-Man, and there was a point where, people just got tired of Spider-Man from a comic book perspective. And they the sales for Spider-Man weren't even meeting, half of the expectation that it was supposed to. And they were just in a tough spot. And Todd McFarlane came around, who had his success with Spawn. And they was like, yo, Todd, would you like to do Spider-Man? And then he was like, yeah, hell yeah. And then he did Spider-Man. And that's the iconic Spider-Man cover with him like kind of kneeled over and like hunched over and,
yeah,
he had introduced Venom into just a darker side of Spider-Man, and then to this day, obviously the sales went up, and to this day, it's still one of the best selling. Like his series is one of the best selling Spider-Man comics ever, and it really resurrected Spider-Man because you saw him in a different light. Like specifically the Torment series when he was going against Lizardman, and he had to go down into the sewers, and then like his mind was playing tricks on him, and then like. It was just like the mental warfare game that he was going through. And it was just like a really darker side of Spider-Man. And I just thought like that'd be so dope. And I still to this day don't know why they never animated that. But like that the whole Todd McFarlane series, but specifically that Torment saga, I think that shit was so dope.
I would go with the Dark Ninja Turtles, kind of like when they first kind of came out, they were kind of like this darker. I think people were kind of dying. I would love to just see. I just love seeing a darker version. I hate seeing this kiddie, lighthearted stuff all the time. I understand it's for sales. Right. I get it, but I always do want to see the alternate or the real version of how they initially had it or meant for it to go super dark. And just to have that version, even if you just do 2 short seasons or something like that for the fans, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I'll go to the dark kind of version of the Ninja Turtles.
But ain't that the one where 3 of them got killed and then one had to find who killed them?
Oh like no, that's happening right now. That's Ronin, which I haven't read. Okay. But what Keenan's talking about is like when the Ninja Turtles first came out in like '85, like they were killing people. Yeah. They were killing people.
Yeah,
yeah.
I need to read those.
I've got some of them, some point when we can all get back together, you can check them out. Brennan still needs to give me back Watchmen if he hasn't finished it yet. Yeah, that's right.
You haven't finised Watchmen?
He's had it for at least a calendar year. He's had it at least a year.
When's the last time I saw you, Rob?
We've been less than a year.
Damn.
But So for me personally, I would say my personal favorite comic book out there right now is Saga. I'd love to see that adapted into an animated show. The art is gorgeous. The story is incredible, and they do not pull punches. That shit is real from start to finish. I think when I gave Brennan the first book, I was like, this is going to start at a 10 and it's going to just about stay there the whole time. And that's absolutely true. I would love to see that animated. I know specifically the authors, the writer and the artists have said, like, we made this to be a comic book. It's going to stay a comic book. We want this to be a comic book story. We're not interested in adapting this into anything else, which I think maybe is another reason why I'm just like, give it to me. Like, I want to see this like in motion. That'd be so cool. Yeah, Saga would be super dope. If you haven't read it, I would say check it out.
Brennan.
Secret Wars all day. If you don't know what the Secret Wars are, it's a 12-episode series of Marvel where there's a guy, like a cosmic entity named the Beyonder, who pretty much just takes, like, he's like, looks at Earth and is like, this is interesting. Like, there's a lot of powers here and interesting people, and they're not really scrapping, so they bow to. And he pretty much transports, like, all the main superheroes and all the main villains onto a war world, and they scrap. And a lot of things happen. Like, this is the first time that Spider-Man wears the symbiote costume. Like, the second version of Spider-Woman is born from this. Like, there's just so many things that happen. And, like, so many people give hands. So many matchups that we all want to see that happen. Like, Magneto switches from hero to villain. You know, it's just like everybody and their mama's in here, and they go ham. And I think that would be a really, really, really good series. If you want to see these superheroes and villains get after it, it's like, I don't think there is a better time to have done it. And it's also one of the most infamous series of comics. It's so famous because it's only 12 issues. And I don't want to give away at the end, but
go ahead.
There's very few punches.
It's like the sale games.
You shut up, Keenan.
Go ahead.
Keenan's like, no, go ahead. Go ahead, give it away. Give it away.
I mean, these comics have been out for like, what, 20 years now? The Secret Wars has been out for a while.
It's been a long time.
I don't even remember when the Secret Wars came out. I think it came out.
It was like 30, 40 years. So I'm thinking of the end, like how it looks, how it's drawn, and it's like really old. Like I think it's like black and blue.
I think
it's like pre-Todd McFarlane. It's pre-Todd McFarlane Spider-Man.
1985, I think. It was like a couple years before I was born, I think.
I just see I just see it, you know, the yellow lettering and stuff. Yeah.
But like,
I used to have that a t-shirt. It was pretty cool.
One of the covers is one of the most iconic covers is literally just Spider-Man in a black suit. You know, it was like stuff like that. But either way, I would love to see the Secret Wars because you want to talk about just like powers on 10, everybody going hard, new alliances and storylines and characters being created. It's like, it doesn't get better than this in a short series, like a short run series. Like, I think that's the way to go. So I'd love to see that turned into like an animation.
That was the series with that Spider-Man X-Men matchup that I was talking about earlier, where Spider-Man ran it up against the X-Men.
Yeah.
Thanks for ruining it, Rob.
Didn't ruin nothing for me, Rob. You get in my book.
Gotcha, Keenan.
Last question. We get to the shits. Have you? Oh, my bad. I was reading one of Rob's old questions again. Can you forgive someone if they never told you? Like, if you forgive a woman if she never told you that she was pregnant and had your child? To me, this is an unforgivable offense. Especially if you know somebody like Professor X, who seems like he's a good man, saying he'd be a great father. You don't even give him the option.
He's raising everybody else kids.
He don't.
No, hold on. Let's just take a moment and remember how nerfed Professor X is. You telling me the most powerful telepath on the planet doesn't recognize his own kin? That's also a mutant. Who, if you know who Professor X's son is, which I'm not going to go into, if you know who his son ends up being, he's one of the most powerful mutants ever.
Legion ain't no hoe.
That's what I'm saying. Like, all I'm saying is, like, you telling me
dog.
that this guy who has a ability to put on a helmet and see every mutant on the planet wouldn't recognize his own blood, and also wouldn't even look into the brain of the woman who doesn't have mental powers that he's trying to get at, that he fell in love with, that he obviously for some reason had a dick that worked and had sex with, like, and had a baby with, like, the whole time she was pregnant, all the time after that. He
just
never
because
fell
he's in a
to
wheelchair, his dick don't work.
It's a possibility.
It's a possibility.
Paralyzed.
Clearly it does. Clearly it does, though.
Clearly it does.
All of the wheelchair people I know, I don't think that's the proper way to call them, but they did
Probably
work.
not.
They get active still. But
they be in the streets.
To the question still, it's unforgivable. There's no way. I don't even know what's happening. I don't even know what type of conversation we're going to have once I find out.
Yeah.
Because you just now ruined this kid probably hates me because, and there's nothing I can even say probably. Your mother kept me away. Well, why did you try to find me? Like, I didn't even know about you. You just now ruined that kid's life. That kid would never be mentally the same. And me, I would never. And I want to, for me, wanting to be a father, regardless if it's a woman that I don't want to be with, you still owe me that. Brendan?
I would have to be like, yo, like, it would be a conversation. I'd be like, we need to understand why this happened. Like, I'm not going to just go out and assume I can't forgive you because I might not know the situation. Like, I think that it definitely falls into the category of things unforgivable. If there's no real justification. If she was just like, I don't know, I just didn't want to, or something like that, then like, yeah, we're unforgivable.
So off the top of your head, what is a justifiable reason?
I mean, I can make a few of them up. Like, it's just like, all right, well, I don't know. Like, my father is a homicidal maniac who's also a billionaire and said, if I tell you, then he's going to kill me and the kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a thing. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like
that was pretty good.
Really good answer, bro.
That was pretty damn good.
Wasn't even expecting that. Was not expecting that answer at all.
Yeah, I gotta give you your respect. Okay, fuck you, bro.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's likely. It's not probable, but it's possible that it's forgivable. So I'd say yes. In general, like it's hard to imagine. I have to go into a far stretched form of my imagination that obviously only takes me a second to get to.
Obviously.
But I say that it's unforgivable in general, but I think I would have to sit down and have a conversation first to understand the motivation behind it. And also how much time has passed. Is this a 8-month-old child or is this a 15-year-old kid? You know what I'm saying? Like those are very different situations as well. So I think it's very situational for me if it's unforgivable or not.
Ice.
I don't care if you have a millionaire homicidal. You
can't even say it.
I don't care. Homicidal. I said it. Homicidal. I don't care. Tell me about my kid, little bitch. Like I need to know these things. We can figure it out. I can start a GoFundMe. Like we can figure this shit out so we can take care of it. Like no, like you got to tell me it's unforgivable. It's unforgivable. It's unforgivable. It's unforgivable. Even the far stretch of that imagination, I don't care. I don't care about your situation. I don't care what you was going through. You got to tell me. At least give me a chance.
Brennan just said he's going to get the baby and her are going to be killed. So you just got your son killed. Because you were you said no.
I'm going to figure it out. We got to figure something out. We got to,
that's my point. I said a homicidal billionaire is what I said. So it's not like you have the power
billionaire. We going on the news. Tell me right now.
He owns the news station. He just bought it. As soon as you said that, he just bought the news station.
It's a choose your own adventure. What the fuck?
That's hilarious. But yeah,
you trash as fuck his improv. Like what the? Come on, man. Yes, and bro.
No, I said yes. I didn't say that this isn't going to happen. I said, okay, yeah, now he owns a news station. So
that's what I'm saying.
The next report coming out is saying, we retract that last report.
Mm-hmm. And now they're going to make it to where he could probably easily say that you raped a daughter and that's why they didn't want to tell you.
I'm gonna find Elon Musk. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna find Elon Musk and then Green Beret. And we're gonna talk to them. I'm gonna holler at I'm gonna get him, Oprah, all of the Byron Allen, all the rich people, the people that I'm gonna leave Jeff Bezos out of it because I feel like he owns some fuck shit. He'd be with them. That's who the homicidal dad
Billionaires
is.
are friends, bro. They're gonna be on his side. Not yours.
Every single billionaire is up to some fuck shit. Well, I'll say that right now.
This is true. This is very true.
You don't get there without it.
All right. We got to start wrapping this up. Rob?
Yeah, no, she's completely out of line in this scenario, especially considering, like, it sounded like they left on relatively good terms. He's like, come back with me. She's like, no, I got to stay. And he's like, I reached out to her. She didn't want to see me. She didn't want to see you. And she's got your kid. And, like, even when this kid is dying, she's not just like, hey, by the way, sorry, there's been this horrible secret, but, like, this is your last chance to meet your son. Or, like, you might want to come here and, like, meet your child or something. Nothing. Like, completely out of line. That's unforgivable. Like, if I were Professor X, I'd be on my way to Japan just to melt her brain or something. Like, that'd be fucking incensed, man. That's crazy that she would do that. I mean, I'm sure, like Brennan said, there are certainly scenarios where, like, maybe there's a justifiable reason in some, eventuality. Like, we got to hide Vader's kids or else he's going to, fucking train him to destroy the universe or whatever. Then, you got to keep that a secret. But in general, no, that's fucking crazy. Like, especially if it's like in a situation with me, like somebody reached out from the past, like, by the way, we have a child and I didn't tell you about it. Oh, and they're dead. I would like, what are you talking about? Like, that would just be so much like on top of it. I don't think I could forgive that person. That'd be just crazy.
Yeah. Especially,
right. And they already dead too, so it's like, who gives a fuck? Like, you would have got killed. The kid would have got killed for trying. Well, at least let me try.
Yeah, you didn't even get a chance to spend a day with that. Oh man, that would have been heartbreaking. That's the question portion of the show. To wrap this up, give our likes and dislikes and our scores. Go ahead first, Ice.
I like the mystery part of it. I don't like the execution, like I said. Favorite part, my favorite part was because I made fun of it. Is just the part where Emma and Cyclops are talking to each other, and it's like, yeah, they gonna fuck. Like, he getting the draws. I think that was my favorite part, just because of the silliness of it all. Least favorite part, just the stupidity of the doctor. I think of whatever her name is, just how she just keeps flubbing and just like, I don't know. Like, come on, like we got you. Like, just chill out and just tell us what it is so we can help you or take you in, whatever the case may be. These stretch episodes was really no different from the other four. It was actually worse, honestly, in my opinion. These stretch episodes was worse because at least they came in hot with the Phoenix and everything. And like I said, the mystery part is cool, but overall, I just wasn't a fan of these 4 episodes. So my overall score would be 4,000.
Okay, I'll make mine pretty quick. Best part to me is still Wolverine. I think every scene that he's in, he's either funny or doing something dope. When she named herself and he was like, "Come on, Armor." And it was like they walked out. He's kind of like mocking her name. So I think he's just funny and dope in every single scene. What I didn't like about it is that they have potential for these fights or for people to get active more, and it is not getting as active as I would like them to do. They brought these 2 villains in, and they could have got after it in this fight, and they didn't. I think they dropped the fucking ball.
They pulled a gangster.
Yeah, they dropped the ball on that. Yeah, big time. Overall, I think it's for some reason the episode is still going by pretty fast. But I do feel like I do like that they could have made this because even in the music is kind of mystery type music, which I think is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. But I think they're dropping the ball right now on a lot of stuff, and I would give an overall score of 5,200. Brennan.
That backup's coming back. Oh, sorry, the backup's back. Please see my last review of episode 1 through 4 for pretty much everything I'm gonna say again, but I'm gonna do it super fast. It's like my favorite part, same as you. Wolverine's dialogue is hilarious. He's the only believable character in those moments because it's just like he makes fun of the stupidity in the room because it happens a lot. My least favorite thing is the same as last time, is that in general, the dialogue and the motivation of the characters doesn't make any sense to me. Literally none. And then, so I don't remember what my score was last week, but subtract 200 from it. So I don't know, 3,800.
Was it a 4,000?
4,000.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't remember. I thought it was like a 42 or something like that. Somewhere around there. 40, let's call it, I'll say the same as Ice, 4,000.
Okay.
Rob, defend that pick, baby. Let's go.
No, I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying. I definitely think this was a weaker stretch of episodes. The action was pretty unmotivated. Like, other than the fight against Sublime, it was just kind of like, why are we fighting these 2 dudes from the inner circle right now? Like, this was just kind of just get them in and get them out. Like, even that second fight against the Scorpion one, I'm like, all right, like that was all right, I guess. But then when the other dude transformed, it just felt like, why are we doing this? It felt like they just had to kind of get through it. And yeah, so I would say my favorite part, I think it both looks and sounds great. I think the animation style is really cool. I like it. I think it looks good, especially when the action is going on. It's generally fun to watch. I mean, it's not the same as the 90s animated opening theme, but I like the opening theme on this. I'm kind of like, all right, cool. Like it's got some good stuff going on, but no, I agree. Characters, my least favorite part, these characters just act stupid and illogically. And like, I want characters to do things that make me go like, oh, I didn't think of it that way, or oh, that's smart, I didn't think of that. And these people do not do that. This woman is a doctor and is just like, what? Come on, like Beast and this doctor lady are just like, they're supposed to be the smartest people in the room, and they are clearly not. Like it just, I don't know. It's tough. And yeah, the story just isn't doing a whole lot for me. I mean, that being said, I do like it more than the last couple shows we watched personally. I'd give it a 5,000.
I don't like that.
I need names, Rob. You said the last couple shows. So Dead Man's Wonderland 1. What's the other one?
God of High School.
God of High School.
I can see that.
Okay, that's just okay.
That's fair.
All right.
Well, and real quick,
I say this for me is about the same as Dead Man's Wonderland for me.
And real quick, I just want to say, somebody in the comment section said something. They said, when is Iron Blooded Orphan Season 2 coming? So they're trying to cap for you to put that pick as your next pick, Brennan. And somebody also said that, I didn't know that Jean, Wolverine and Cyclops lived together at one point, and they share Jean.
They do now. That's current comics continuity. They all chill. They're in a throuple or something. Yeah.
Wow.
That definitely happened.
That's the thing.
That's
Never.
Wow. So yeah, let us know what y'all think in the comment section about what's going on with this show, these episodes 4 through 8, and what you think overall of the show. Answer the questions as always. Go ahead and drop your stuff, guys. Ice.
You can find me at We're the Greatest fucking anime podcast in the entire world. That's where you can find me at. Shout out to Antonio Ward one more time. But you can find me on Instagram, ice.mcgowan.
Brennan held strong though. Brennan didn't really budge. He didn't really make a facial expression. He stayed strong in that moment. And I know he wanted it. It was irking him.
Right. He didn't go to the equipment room, and I love him for it.
Rob?
Yeah, you can find me RV Danger on Instagram. I'm going to give a quick shout out as well to my buddies Devin and Keith. I actually guest hosted on their podcast, Heard the Nerds. They watched the whole like animated Clone Wars series on Disney Plus, and we just like nerded out about Star Wars shit for like 2 hours. So check that out. Heard the Nerds. They're starting their second season now. My episode should be out soon.
Oh, super dope. Brennan?
Oh, let's go.
At Brennan the Best on the gram.
Keenan Baker on every single thing. Animation Podcast, Cash App, $ Animation Podcast. And yeah, thank y'all for tuning in every week to another episode of Animation. We out.
And so anime was solved forever.